Hello. All right. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Hello, everyone. I welcome you to this great panel in the Saudi Salon. We're going to talk about the work of art today. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, whoever is watching us online and whoever is attending this session, this amazing session with the amazing panelists. Welcome from the beautiful Palm Garden in the Saudi Arabian Pavilion at the Expo 2020 Dubai. Tonight is the first of our monthly Saudi salons, conversations with leading figures in the arts and entertainment and cultural sectors from Saudi Arabia and around the world. We welcome you. We want to give them a round of applause, please, before we introduce them. We also encourage our live and online audience to engage as well with questions and comments. The aim of these salons is to enrich your knowledge of the developing cultural scene in Saudi Arabia. We're going to discuss important cultural matters that involve the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Tonight, our salon focuses on the work of art and specifically what role the creative industries have in facilitating cultural change in Saudi Arabia. My name is Yasser Al-Sagaf. I welcome you all and I'm happy to have you here tonight. Without further delay, let me introduce this week's panelists. We'll start, of course, with the Deputy Director of Art Jameel, a major arts foundation in the Gulf which undertakes commissions, produces art festivals and competitions. It's my pleasure to introduce Sara Al-Imran.
Thank you, Yasser.
Next, from the UK, Executive Director of the Edinburgh International Festival, one of the world's greatest cultural festivals since 1947. Our guest was previously Executive Director of Hull City of Culture, for which she was awarded an OBE by the Queen in 2018. Please welcome Francesca Hegi. Also from Saudi Arabia, we are joined by Arts and Cultural Programming Director for Al-Ula Royal Commission. Al-Ula is home to a thriving cultural and tourism ecosystem, sometimes known as the Saudi Arabian Petra. Let's please welcome Noor Al-Dabal. And also from another Saudi architecture wonder, of course, the King Abdulaziz Center for Arts and Culture, ITHRA. We welcome Creative Director, a graduate of the Royal College of Art, leads an innovation and creativity team at ITHRA, and is himself an accomplished 3D designer. I welcome Robert Frith. We know that Robert has taken time out of ITHRA's Destination Cultural Festival, Tanween, to be with us today, so thank you for your time. We appreciate it. Finally, we have Executive Director Marketing for Middle Beast, the region's biggest and most successful music festival, now back in Riyadh and bigger and louder than ever. He's been a marketing director for both Nike and Adidas. Hopefully not at the same time, but he did it. Please welcome Robert Buck. All right, ladies and gentlemen, can you hear me well? Do I have to make it louder? Are you okay? All right, great. Please give a big Saudi welcome to everyone here. We want to hear it before we go and start the session, please. Thank you for hosting us tonight. Thank you for the Saudi Pavilion and everyone who has made this panel come true, and we are very glad to be here. Let's start our topic, or our discussion topic, with a question. What can creative industries do to facilitate cultural change? Robert Buck, let's start with you. Give us your perspective on this from the field of popular entertainment.
I think creative industries are like...
I cannot hear Robert, please.
Microphone,
right.
Hello? Okay.
There
good.
we go.
I think creative industries are a catalyst, essentially, like for... Should I... Now better? Better?
Shall we scream a little bit higher?
Should I scream?
All right, go ahead.
All right. So creative industries, like for me, are a catalyst like, to bring change about, right? Creativity is like, you can see it on all fronts, you can see it in all aspects of life. You can see it in music, obviously, like you can see it in entertainment, you can see it in arts and culture, right? And that's what's fueling sort of like change from the ground up. Like I think it really kind of like transcends almost sort of like, you know, all of the different areas and aspects of life. So you can bring it further.
Amazing. So, okay, I cannot hear myself. Can you hear me?
No.
No? Can we keep all of our mics on, please, so we can interact together and engage? Can we do that, please, Mike? Thank you. So let's get an international perspective from you, Francesca. What about you? No. All right, let's do this right. So we want all of our mics on so we can discuss, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, can we have all of our mics on at the same time so we can discuss in this panel? Our subject, please. Okay, go ahead, Francesca. So give me an international perspective, please.
So the creative industries
All right.
is one of the fastest growing parts of our...
Can I hear?
Yeah, we cannot hear Francesca, please. Can we have
I mean,
mic?
I can.
Can we have your mic on, please? Yeah, we can. No problem. Thank you very much. All right. So let me repeat the question. What can creative industries do to facilitate cultural change in societies? And I want the international perspective from your side, please.
Can you hear me now?
No. We do not want
Do any of-
Francesca to
yeah.
speak. Okay, there we go.
There we are.
Finally. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll start by saying in the United Kingdom, we define
As having 9 different parts to it.
Okay.
it's everything from advertising to architecture to craft and design to video gaming to publishing to museums and heritage and everything in between.
And as such,
Yeah, we can't. The mic is not working, so we will try to. Yeah, let's try to do that now again, please. Can you? No, it's not working. Not working. Okay, let me get back to you.
Okay.
Is your mic working?
yeah, seems
Yes,
like
great.
it.
All right. So
Excuse me.
I'll get back to you, Francesca,
Okay,
once
that's no problem.
once the technical problem is fixed. Back to Saudi, and I want to ask Sarah. You're based in Dubai, home of the Expo. I'm sure you have an agreement with what Robert said. Does really the creative industries facilitate cultural change? Does it affect society?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, from the perspective of Art Jameel, where we have a contemporary art center here in Dubai, and we're preparing to open our second center and our biggest center in Jeddah, and we really see the arts as kind of a platform to have conversations about things that matter to society. So, kind of a place that. Or sort of a starting point for conversations related to the humanities, kind of social sciences, heritage. So, it really is a place that kind of, the creative industries can be, as Robert said, a catalyst for change, but also, kind of a starting point to kind of engage with other disciplines, other topics.
Amazing. Okay, so when I ask Noura, let's talk about Al-Ula in specific. Has cultural change come to Al-Ula, and were the creative industries responsible for that?
I think Al-Ula was always a cross path for many years. So you have so many civilizations and so many cultures. It's a place. I mean, when we look at languages, there are many languages that have passed through Al-Ula in its time. So I think definitely it did have and continue having a role in pushing culture and creative industries. The way we're now working, we're kind of pushing programs that are starting to pilot what will become our arts district, and that's a core core component of our creative industries in Al-Ula. We started with a program in Madrasat Al-Dira, which is one of the first girls' school in Al-Ula. And we've renovated it to really become a place that celebrates traditional art, but within a contemporary context. And that's really kind of a start to push the youth into production, not only to produce for Al-Ula, but to also export to different destinations.
Great. This is great. So I mean, if I talk about ITRA, I know that ITRA, since it opened, it made change happen. Does that speak to you, Robert? Does that?
Yeah, I mean, I think...
Do you believe that?
Oh, completely. I mean,
back in 2016, but without cutting you off, back in 2016, when ITRA opened, it made change happen.
It opened as a disruptive force, but
yes.
disruption in a positive way.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we really explored with our audiences was, you know, how to make change through creativity and culture to make a positive impact. But then on the flip side, it's a change maker disruption, but also then how to cope with change. You know, it is disruptive. It is a journey that we're all going on, but you can, it's supportive in the way that culture can help you understand the change that's happening and the changes that have happened in the past, the present, and the changes you might want to make happen in the future. And that's really where ITRA was really trying to kind of, helping people explore how change can happen through creativity and culture.
Okay, amazing. So, Francesca, is your mic fixed?
I don't know, you tell me.
Can you?
Is it working?
Is it working? Can you speak louder?
I can try.
Okay.
Does that work?
Yeah, it's working.
That's working. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'll just won't move.
Amazing. So going back to the same question,
Yeah.
with an international perspective, what can you tell us?
I think that culture and creativity and those who work in those industries are just a mirror and a microcosm of society and as a whole. And what I was saying was in the United Kingdom, the creative industries are growing at 4 times the rate of the rest of the economy. So they are, in essence, the future. Amazing. So everybody who works in the creative industries is representing the future of the economy and of the way that we think and of the way that we interpret the world. So the change is there, so absolutely.
Amazing. Okay, so in these challenging times, do you think creative industries have anything to teach the wider business community? Since the mic is yours, can you answer this question as well, Francesca?
I think so. I think part of that change has come about because the creative industries are young, yeah. They are agile, they're small, and they are based upon innovation. So 95% of the creative industries in the UK have less than 10 people working for them. So they're really, really small. And what they rely upon are the skills of the future. So they rely upon digital skills, they rely upon innovation and creativity. But they also rely upon a different kind of infrastructure. So they rely upon, instead of roads and heavy industry, they rely upon the internet. So I think when we're looking at how the future is going to go, the internet is the thing that weaves it all together. So investing in broadband and digital is where I think we need to be looking. What about Middle East? Let's say it's a creative industry, it's an entertainment industry. What does it have to teach the business community? Like, I don't want to say a lesson, but does it have to show it, you know, the creativity part of it, and where Middle East can actually affect the society and the business community?
I think what we see is like we have to be agile, we have to be nimble, we have to, you know, we have to adapt to the situation as we go. And I think like the pandemic as a situation, like as for us as a company, we've grown up in it. Like we've, you know, at the beginning of the pandemic, we were a very small team. We've grown, you know, to now like a much larger team. Like, and our entire work is remote. Like, and we had to adapt, right? It's not like it wasn't anything that was like given or like you know, inducted. It was like we you know, we have a goal. We want to grow. We want to build the company, and we had to get there like being agile, nimble, and like basically work with the change, right? Like take whatever is coming, whatever external sort of like influences are happening that we can't change or can't work with, but we have to, you know, we have to take that and like work our way out. And I think that's where, you know, Francesca mentioned, like I would fully agree, like creative industries are much more able to kind of like work with the change and like take it and go, like adapt. It's almost like, because creatives in a way inherently are change makers already anyways, right? Like, so I think for us, for the industry, it's much easier to adapt and go forward with the flow.
Yeah. What about the private sector? When I talk about Art Jamil, from a business perspective, Do you think creative industries have actually something to teach the business community or no?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, to borrow from what you said, Francesca, about it being a mirror, you know, creative industries and culture being a mirror, it also asks difficult questions to businesses sometimes, right? You're engaging in dialogue and conversations with businesses about sort of questions related to the environment, question related to kind of, you know, how we deal with sort of our heritage sites and sort of other important questions. So, you know, back to what I mentioned earlier about it kind of being a platform for debate. Yeah. So I think that is something that's very powerful that the culture sector can offer to the business community, but also kind of what sort of other colleagues have mentioned about adaptability and the ability to sort of bring new models, always kind of creating new models to work and sort of responding to different possibilities. I mean, for us as Art Jameel, we are a organization that was set up by a large conglomerate in Saudi Arabia, and we are influencing each other, even on a practical level as colleagues.
Amazing. That's amazing. What about Al-Ula? What do you think?
I think what really, I mean, during this time with COVID, it's something that not anyone has experienced before. And I think in terms of cultural institutions globally, but specifically I can speak about ourselves and the institutions around us, collaboration has become key. And how to go about this and really develop our programs together. I've seen a lot of collaborations with entities, whether on an online platform or physical platform, but that kind of discussion and dialogue was always there, but kind of was enhanced during this period, I would say.
Amazing. Do you have any comment, Robert?
Well, I completely agree with everybody else. It's about this mindset, isn't it? Creating a really good mindset. Creatives are brilliant at problem solving, and pulling in that diverse amount of views and opinions and insight to solve the problems. And that's one of the powers of the creative industry, is that it is so diverse, and it welcomes that and thrives on it. And I think it's really positive to see that.
Great. So I want to ask our audience here today and the audience online. It's very hot. Just to let you know that we're all sweating, but it's fine. Hopefully we look good on camera. I want to ask you a question. Do you think really art and culture does have a positive impact on society and does make a change, or no? If yes, please raise your hand. No? Do you think art and culture have a positive impact on society? Yes or no? Yes? Okay, great. So our audience online as well, they can submit their comments. They all agree. Yeah, we all agree? Perfect. All right. So we had we had the band. We wanted to, have a break, a 5-minute break, but I think the flow is going very good, so we'll keep going, and then we'll have the band at the end. How about that? Okay, great. So let me ask this question. I'm going to ask 3 fire-up questions, and whoever wants to answer can answer. Is cultural support or cultural support from business sponsors tend to slow down creative industries or no? Let me see. Let me give you an example. A sponsor maybe applies certain rules on on artists or entertainment shows or whatever. Does it slow down creativity? Do you think sponsors slow down creativity or not?
I think they work hand in hand. I don't think it slows down creativity. If we look at, I think UNESCO estimates the revenue coming from culture and creative sector at $2.2 trillion. Okay. So it is a large industry in scale, and I think they go hand in hand. It's important to have the support through sponsorships or partnerships, because eventually each arm benefits in a way or another.
And I know that artists usually work independently, and when sometimes sponsorships or government sectors come into business with them, they tend to limit their creativity. Is that true or no? You don't agree?
I don't think
you
I
don't.
agree.
I don't think.
No.
What about you, Sarah?
Yeah, I don't agree.
I think I agree with Noura. In principle, that shouldn't be the case. But it depends on the partnership. It depends on whether their values are aligned, whether kind of the objectives are aligned. So yeah, I think we've all probably have experienced, business partners or corporate entities that come in and we'll have a conversation about sort of doing something together, and sometimes it works really, really well, and sometimes it doesn't. So it really depends on, sort of on what each entity sort of is bringing to the table. But I think the Expo is a great example of how that could work really well. I mean, we were just walking a little bit earlier and looking at all the incredible commissions around the pavilion, and it adds so much richness. So it's an example of how, sort of a corporate entity could come in with a arts and culture organization or sort of artists, independent artists, and produce incredible kind of expressions that talk about the objectives of this forum. As Art Jamil, we also kind of collaborated with the Expo on sort of setting these kind of Sabil fountains across the site, and it was kind of a mix of getting independent artists to kind of interpret what a new Sabil could look like today. This Sabil is, I mean, I don't know if everybody here knows about it, but it's kind of, it comes from this old tradition of having kind of water fountains out in the public for anybody that wants to drink water. It's a very old tradition that exists in the Gulf, and so the Expo invited artists to kind of recreate what a Sabil could look like today and sort of look at it from a different perspective. And so this is a great example of how artists kind of looked at that history and sort of created new editions of what that could look like. Okay. And you can see it all across the Expo today. So that's just one example that I came across earlier.
You gave me a great response. That's great. Do you have any comments, Francesca? What do you think?
I think when the values are aligned between the artists, the creatives, and the business, that's great. I think sometimes it can get out of kilter, and that's when it falls down. I think sometimes if a business or a government or whoever gets a little bit over creative themselves, they may want to influence the work of the artist. And sometimes I think it's useful to ask the question, would the relationship work the other way around? Would the business person be happy to have the musician tell them how to do their job? And I think if the answer to that is no, then they should ask themselves the question, why am I telling an artist what they should be doing? So I think in the UK, the principle of being autonomous and of leaving artists alone is fairly well established, and I wouldn't want to see it broken.
Amazing, hopefully not. Ithra, you work with a lot of artists and creative people and creative industries. I think Ithra has one of the most sophisticated, let's say, I don't want to say rules or restrictions, but Ithra is known for their, for them being very strict with things. They're very processed, and it's good. It's good. But do you limit down the artists and the creative industries that you work with, or no?
Well, I think when you look at, who are the artists, so Ithra has been designed and built for all generations, right? So we're talking about individual talents. That's one end of the pipeline, as it were. Yeah. But at the start is the learning and the development of, all the way through. They're all artists, talented creatives. So when we go back to the mindset that we want to create, they might go off and be surgeons and doctors. They might be artists, but we're going to support that whole spectrum, from inspiring them to engage in art and culture and creativity, to building their skills up so they can have that mindset to solve problems, create things. And then we have a platform where there's those individual artists or creators that we want to support to express what they need to express. Yeah. Now, hopefully we can be good partners to support that and not be dominant partners, but also we want to show the best of them. Yeah. We want to bring out the best of them, and hopefully challenge them to do that. It's not in a silo,
You've always been known as the great partner of all time, so this is perfect.
Shukran, thank you.
I want to talk about Middle East. You are an entertaining sector, and pure entertainment. Bringing music festivals to Saudi Arabia. I think you have the most freedom out of all for creative. For creative, the entertainers basically. You cannot limit them. You just want them to have fun. Right? Middle East is all about entertainment, right?
Of course, we don't. Yeah. I mean, we don't want to limit creativity in general. I think it's all about it's all about the partnership. It's all about like how we can work together, right? Like to
Exactly.
and entertain. Like whether it's like you know, amplifying that scene, bringing you know the talent that is already existing and is there and has been there for quite some time actually, giving them a stage, giving them a platform, giving them like the possibility to showcase you know their creativity, their work, like through the lens of music to
Yeah.
a wider audience. So that's what we're about, right? Like
this is
we're giving the platform for the talent to fill out, whether it's like localized talent or local talent that's coming up, or whether it's international talent that is connecting with the local audiences here, right? Like that really wants to sort of like consume that.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, we answered this question. I think we had great answers, but again, should the artists or art in general be supported or, you know, left to fend themselves? What do you think? Should they be supported or no? You're going to say yes, right? But give me a reason why.
Well, of course I'm going to say yes.
Shall be, I mean,
But I would say...
the question is, should art be supported or left to fend themselves, you know, to create their own world and you know, swim with the creativity and just enjoy the art, you know. Sometimes with yeah, I mean, I don't want. This is related to my first question. Give me a yes or no. Should art be supported or no?
Yes, but it's not just about money, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what is it about?
It's about creating the environment in which arts can flourish.
Okay.
And that's everything from the policy environment to the regulatory environment to the funding environment. It's about workforce and it's about how we treat people. It's about how we treat ideas and intellectual property.
Okay, that was my next question. How
It's-
should people support artists?
It's policy, it's regulation,
Okay.
it's the way that we organise ourselves as society, because creative output is just one of the things that we do as people. So,
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Do you have any comments?
I
Yeah.
think
Robert?
Yeah, I think it's a very, very good point.
We can't hear you, sorry.
Now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Working? All right. I think it's a very, very important point that we have to get out of support just being money, right? It's not only about that. It's of course at the end also about like financial support, but like it is the entire environment, right? Like earlier we had a discussion around music rights, right? Like which are essentially a very boring topic, but it's the foundation of like how an artist can make a living, right?
Okay.
Which is equally like important for any other art subject, right? But that's not, you know, that's not a money issue. That's a policy problem, or that's something that like has to be tackled by all kinds of like different aspects and areas, right? So I think the notion of support is like very, very multifaceted. Like it has to almost start like from the you know, like lowest ground level up, to then say, okay, in the end you can, you know, sponsor or commission artists that are like already sort of like at some certain stage.
You wanted to say something, Sarah?
Yeah, sorry.
Go ahead.
I think I really second what Robert just mentioned. Definitely, the way you've addressed the question, it's like it's purely financial. And even when it comes to financials, when you look at corporates that supports art and culture, it's not random. Those corporates have values, and those values need to align with where they're putting their money into. And I think that alignment has to be there. And that's where the understanding happens, and what, you know, if a corporate wants to come to kind of lock the creativity, why would they want to support? So
Exactly.
there is that marrying that needs to happen between the sponsor and the creative institution or product, let's say. But also, when we were talking just before the panel, we were talking about, I mean, regionally, intellectual property is something that is kind of an issue for creatives in general in the region. Policies, all of those issues are valid today, and the support is also there as well. So it's not purely financial.
Okay, so my question is a little bit tricky. I wanted these answers from you, but and this is why I asked, and I tried to, you know, press on a button here, and it did, which is great.
Yeah.
But I wanted to say, so you're saying support is way beyond only financials.
Yeah.
This is it?
Sorry?
You're saying that support is way beyond financials, not only financials. It's many other things, right?
Yes.
Supporting-
It's policies, it's standards, it's I mean, when you look at you know, the law behind creatives, when business models,
Right.
creatives sometimes, you know, they're really good in their creative realm, but there's a lot of let's say different skills that need to that they probably need support in or lack to best present their work.
Okay. What about Art Jamil? What do you say?
I mean, I think the point about policy cannot be emphasized enough, especially given that, you know, in Saudi today, I mean, we've had a revolution, right, in terms of the arts and sort of, you know, the new institutions and all the kind of cultural changes that have happened over the last 3-4 years. And I think, you know, we're seeing this kind of explosion of creativity and so many sort of incredible efforts led by Al-Ula, Dar'iyya, and Middle East and others. And you know, if we don't have the right regulatory sort of setup, then you can't really take it further, and that's really crucial, particularly for the, you know, private sector, particularly for independents and sort of individual artists. So, you know, we just 5 or 6 years ago, if you were to open a gallery in Saudi, the only license that you would get is kind of a framing shop, because contemporary art gallery or sort of a design gallery wasn't a category that any business could sort of take on. So, you know, we're shifting that now. So that's changing, and that's really crucial, because that allows more organizations, more private sector effort, more people to kind of take on this path.
Amazing.
And in addition to that, I mean, just to sort of not kind of really press on the policy and regulation point, is also academic institutions and sort of the educational setup, and sort of just kind of the really working with society and kind of creating that appreciation for the arts and sort of your, you know, day-to-day life.
Okay. Great. Amazing. So let me ask the audience, what does culture mean to you? Can someone answer me? Any artists here? No? Okay. What does culture mean to you? What does the word culture mean? You can speak up. We can hear you. Do we have an extra mic? What is culture?
Culture is life.
Life?
Culture is the fabric of life. Culture is what binds people together.
Okay. You agree? Do you have another, when I say culture, what does it mean to you? Is culture the 16 forms defined by the ministry? Is it everything that makes a society? What is it?
I think
Can you give me, go ahead, Robert, please.
I think culture is fluent, right? Like it's representative of, you know, the current stream of like what interests people or what is like important to people, right? Like you can say popular culture, okay? Like in the 90s there was something different than it is in the early 2000s or than it is now, right? Like, and I think in a way it's a bit of a reflection of whatever is sort of like going on through an entire society or through an entire like region or even through a neighborhood, right? Like you know, you can break it down into the tiniest small aspect of culture that is like relevant to you and your closest circle, or to an entire country. I think it's fluent, like it's, you know.
Great. Anyone has a comment before I ask Noura the next question? Okay, so does culture really change anything in society, or does it mark or record what is happening right now anyway? Or no? Go ahead, please.
Okay. Yeah, I think culture is a living soul, so it continues on evolving day after day. If you look
if we speak about Al-Ula in specific, it's all about culture, right?
Absolutely. I mean, you look at many civilizations, we go 5,000 years back, and until today, where we see the art of today and contemporary artists expressing their work in Al-Ula. We have, I mean, here in Expo, I've seen some of the creatives here we have today are showcasing some of their works inside, as well as the kind of interactive piece by 6 Saudi artists. So it's basically evolves. It's really a reflection of the artist at a specific time.
All right, Francesca. I mean, Your entity was founded in 1947, so it's probably all about culture as well, correct? And it has its DNA and its culture, and you know, the founding was not just, you know, today in 2021, you still see the heritage, you still see the culture. Is that really happening?
Yeah, completely. I think our organisation was set up after the Second World War to encourage what we called the flourishing of the human spirit by bringing together people of different cultures, different nationalities, to find commonality through art. And so it's still really relevant, but I think I would say you don't even have to go back that far. If you look at what we've all lived through in the last 18 months, 2 years, when we have, you know, our norms have been taken away, we've all fallen back on art and culture. So whether it's box sets or books or it's online choirs or whatever it might be, or cookery over, you know, over the internet, it's culture that keeps us going. It's culture that sustains us. So I think perhaps, I know I certainly over the last 2 years have come perhaps to value culture in a way that I hadn't before. For me, it was a living, how I learned, you know, how I earn my living.
Amazing.
And my profession. But perhaps now I have even a deeper understanding.
Amazing.
Because of what we've been through.
So it's like this gentleman, he said culture is life, basically, and this is what you have experienced. Robert, do you have any comment?
I was just thinking, culture is like the product of our collective experience. And I love Robert's point. It could be the street, the city, the region, the nation, the world, the people, and that's life. But when you kind of take it down for those different segments, I think that's really interesting about how us as individuals can then interact with those different cultures at different levels, whether we're artists or not, whether we're consuming the box sets, creating the box sets, you know, and I think that's really exciting, where we can help people interact in those different ways.
Great. I will leave the final comment to you.
No, I
Sarah.
think I agree with everything that's been mentioned so far, and you know, sort of back to what you just said, Robert, about, you know, it's region, nation, world. It's also a way for you to kind of understand the other, right? So it's sort of also kind of you know, builds bridges. It's a way to kind of, identify with other experiences that are not necessarily yours.
All right. So I'll take a final comment or a phrase or a sentence from each one of our panelists, and then we'll end this conversation, beautiful conversation. Thank you all. Robert, we'll start with you, and then we'll take it through until Sarah.
Let's create some culture. I mean, like, we're at this amazing, you know, societal transformation that is happening in the region, and you know, in this context. And I think like it's up to everyone to, you know, participate and like create that like culture for the next generation, you know, out of their own sort of like context.
Amazing. If we have any online questions, and the director can actually hand them over to me. Do we have any online questions? If we do, please bring them. Otherwise, we'll go ahead with Robert, and then we'll end with Sarah here. Go ahead.
Oh, I kind of keep getting this phrase from my head: you can't create without creating or making. And I think that sort of content creation is something I really want to support. You know, whether it's a child drawing for the first time, or a movie director making a full-length production, that's where the kind of cultural output is going to happen. So if you're creative, create things.
Well, just to tap on what Robert just mentioned, I think the process of creativity is quite important, because the product is kind of the artistic expression, let's say. And it's just, I wanted to invite everyone talking about producing or production of creativity. Within the next few days, we're announcing Al Ula Design Award in its first edition. It's an open call for designers and creatives to produce products within two streams. That's for retail and exclusive gifting. And
Amazing.
Anyone who's selected by the jury, we would then commit to supporting them in production line and retail for 12 months. So wow. That's actual creativity on ground.
Yeah, but no limitless. I mean, you let them be very creative.
Absolutely.
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 When is this award happening? Can you give us a date?
Yeah, it's announced in the next 2 days.
Okay.
And it's open
How
for
can
3
people
months.
online today actually look for it? And what is the website?
Al-Ula Design Award, and you will find more information on experiencealula.com.
Okay, great. Francesca, last comment, final comment. And sorry about the technical error in the beginning.
That's okay. Not enough artists working on the sound. So I would say that we, as a society, need to acknowledge that we're in the middle of an industrial revolution, which is a creative industrial revolution. And we need to be a bit brave, and we need to work out how we support creatives, because our businesses, our systems, our policies, our governments are all predicated on the old industries. They're all engineering or automotive or oil and gas. So how do we create a world that invests in, supports, and takes risks with creatives, because they're the ones with the future?
Amazing. Sarah, we'll get the final comment from you, and then
Sure. I think just to go back to what we were mentioning, and I think this panel is really a reflection of it. Where there's an amazing program and great efforts that are happening both in the UAE and in Saudi, and incredible forums, the Middle East in December. We're also opening a new center in Jeddah called Hey Jamil. That's a community and creative hub that welcomes various different forms of the arts in one place. So so we welcome everybody to join us for the opening in December, and I hope to see other colleagues and some of the audiences there as well.
Amazing. All right. We say thank you to our panelists. Please, let's give them a round of applause. Before we call this off, does anyone have any question to our panelists? We can step aside. Maybe if they have questions, they can ask you. But we are running out of time, so we have to say thank you for being with us. We'll see you next month, Saudi Salon, the second session, hopefully on the 4th of November. The subject is about redesigning society, the new mega cities of Saudi Arabia. Please visit us always in Saudi Salons whenever we have these great sessions with these great panelists. Thank you very much, and you have a great night. Robert, Noura, Francesca, and Sarah. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.